Now this is the brand new BMW i7 xDrive 60. It is without a doubt the most technologically advanced car I have ever driven or seen in my life. Now, under the bonnet sits a very large 544 brake horsepower EV engine. Its top speed goes all the way up to 240 kilometers, and it'll get you up to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.7 seconds. The acceleration is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm Alf Sarper, reporting for Economy Middle East. Well, let me show you a couple of the rather interesting quirks that this car has. Now, you don't have to go ahead and strain yourself and open the door. These door handles, by the way, are brand new. What you have to do is, you can of course do it manually from here, but what you can do is press it, get out of the way. It opens the door slightly. Then when it understands that there is no obstacle, it opens completely all the way. And with a touch of a button, voila, it closes itself as well. The EV has come a long way, and the i7 is no exception. It's perhaps the pinnacle of EV technology. Now, the batteries that sit neatly along the bottom of the car can take this car anywhere between a range of 480 to 510 kilometers. Now, that is a massive, massive range, because despite however many charging stations there might be, the anxiety of running out of juice still is very much a reality these days. But when you have something like this that has a whopping 500 kilometer range, you feel a lot more comfortable. Charging it takes about 45 minutes with a fast charger. But if you find one of those fast chargers, in just 10 minutes, you can get range up to 130 kilometers. So let's say you're traveling and you really need to, fill the tank up, charge it all up. Just 10 minutes of your time and you get 130 kilometers, which is fantastic. And, that kind of takes away all that anxiety. What I love about this car is you can either be driving it in the front and enjoy all of the technological amenities and the wonderful driving pleasure, or you can be sat back here being driven around in the wonderful i7 and still really, really enjoy your time back here. It's a true limousine, or a large sedan, as the Americans like to call it. Now, let me show you a little bit around in the back seats here. Got plenty of leg room, you got plenty of headroom. You have right here on the side these little kind of, they look like mobile phones, and you swipe it up, and from here you can control an array of things, from your telephone to the display that comes down from here, a 31-inch display, which I'll show you in a moment, to the rear blinds, to the lighting, to the seats, and especially the seats here. They are cooled and heated in the back. They have massage functions as well, and you can, of course, climatize it. You can recline it. It really is wonderful. The one I have is the M Sport version. There is an Excellence version of the i7 as well, and in that one, you can actually get what I believe is called a pilot's chair. That's the one that will fully recline. This seat will go forward and it will fully recline. This one doesn't have that, but it is all the same very, very comfortable. And to add to all of these, you've got these wonderful pillows here that make it very, very comfortable. Now I'm going to show you the deployment of the screen. You go from here into My Modes and you select Theater mode. Then the entire car kind of darkens out. You see, the side blinds have gone up and the massive 31.6-inch screen has deployed. And from here, you can have an array of things. It is a touch screen. You can have all sorts of different things happening here. You can, of course, watch Amazon. You can watch YouTube. And when it comes to the seating options here, yes, they are cooled, heated, reclined, and they have massage function. Another thing that you can do is you can have it in very wonderful luxury leather, as I have today. You can have it in cashmere, which I'm told is preferred very much so in Japan. And if you're a true earth warrior, is that what it's called? Environmental warrior, rather, then you can have it in vegan leather that doesn't contain any real leather. here it is. BMW gives you cashmere, vegan leather, and real leather. Now in here, it's probably one of my favorite cabins ever in any sort of vehicle. Now in front, you have this massive curved screen, which we saw in the iX60. That is, I think, about a 12-inch screen here and a 14-inch screen here. It's slightly curved. And inside, it has an array of technologies, all sorts of different things. So if you go in here, you get all sorts of apps or widgets or whatever you want to call them. It's everything from seat comfort to BMW ID to Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, YouTube. You can deploy your theater screen from here, so on and so forth. It is a hugely technologically advanced, wonderful system. Very intuitive, very quick. Although most of us tend to go and just plug in our iPhone or our Android Auto and go on with it, but BMW have done a wonderful job with it. Right in front of me, you've got this wonderful gauge cluster, fully automatic, of course, well, digital rather, and you can choose with this little wobbly button here, and when I mean wobbly, button that you can kind of turn, you can have different types of content. So my favorite, I guess, would be the augmented reality. Lovely cabin, great steering wheel, very sporty. I like it. It's chunky. You've got this Bowers & Wilkins, sound system, extremely nice, upgraded, wonderful. It's just a very, very pleasant cabin to be in. You've got this very futuristic kind of design here. These crystals, well, crystal-like, buttons here. The same goes for the dial in the middle. Your gear shifter is right here in the middle. You kind of, change your gears, so on. You can get into your My modes from here, which have really cool, quirky stuff. Like if you tell BMW that you're feeling down, it'll turn on your massage function. It'll put nice soothing music on, change the lighting inside. It's very, very cool. Of course, you got stuff like you do this, volume goes up and down. They've had that for a while, but just generally a wonderful, wonderful, luxurious, pleasant cabin to be in. The BMW i7. Lovely. Well, let's hit the road, shall we, in the BMW i7. And as one would expect from a car of such stature, it is an absolute pleasure to drive this car. Despite its near 3-ton weight, they've really managed to keep the balance intact. It's a real pleasure to drive. So smooth. And I'm in efficient mode at the moment. And, you leave the roundabout. And then, very nice, you put your foot down. And you get that wonderful noise that Hans Zimmer curated for the BMW i7. For their EV range, as a matter of fact. And what that does is, so you go into the menu, and then you go all the way to driver settings. And inside the driver settings, you have something called iconic sounds. Now, those iconic sounds, as I mentioned, are curated by the Oscar-winning, famous, I believe he's American, but of German descent, Hans Zimmer. Now, these sounds are artificial sounds that is supposed to make this i7 sound a little bit more, well, not like a combustion engine. It doesn't sound like the V8 that the 760 has, but it has its own kind of sound. So when I turn it off, see, I turned off the iconic sound, and I'm putting pedal to the metal, like an EV. Like an EV, not much of a sound, but still quite nice. Now I'll take this red light opportunity to change my modes into sport. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to the settings and we'll put it back. The iconic sounds are now back. You can see it from this camera, I hope. Yes, indeed. Now we'll wait for the green light. And now here we are. So I don't know if my mic or the GoPro mics are catching it, but that sounds like the noise from the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Next up is this boost button that you have here on the, it's kind of like a flappy paddle gearbox. Let's say you're you want to overtake somebody, and you need a little bit more oomph. You press that, and for 10 seconds, it gives you this wonderful boost, and then it's out again. Launch function, let's say. I mean, it's a cool feature to have. I mean, the car is fast enough, but, you know, for those immediate boosts that you want. Now, another thing I'd like to show you are the drive modes that you have here. So you've got your normal speed limiter, it limits to speed. Then you've got your distance controlled, kind of radar controlled cruise control, which is great. It'll let you cruise at a certain speed and brake. Then you've got the assisted driving mode, which I've engaged now. I've set it now, and then it will keep my car within the lane and then kind of drive through, you know, if something comes in front of me. Well, but it's telling me to put my hands on the steering wheel because that's how it is. You know, again, I can take my hands off, give it 5-10 seconds, and then it realizes, and then it tells me to put my hands on. Now, that's how it is in Dubai and Europe and so on and so forth. But go over the Atlantic over to the United States, and you get something called Assist Plus. Now, what that does is you can literally put it in assist mode, and as long as you keep your eyes here, because you've got little infrared cameras within the gauge cluster, as long as you keep your eyes on the road, you can actually go. You can even indicate, and the car will move into the other lane, and so on and so forth. I don't know if it can follow the navigation system. That would be a wonderful option as well. But the Assist Plus is something that we don't get here in the GCC. However, you do get it in the United States. So that is something, as Americans would call it, is a neat option. That's pretty much the driving segment of the i7, except for the 0 to 100 test, which we shall get to very shortly. Well, the BMW i7 does the 0 to 100, according to factory figures, in 4.7 seconds, whereas in the 760, the internal combustion that has the exact same amount of brake horsepower, 544, does it more like in 4.1 seconds. So a fair difference. Usually we think that EVs are quicker, but I think the V8 internal combustion has won over on the i7. Nevertheless, the i7 has launch control. So in order to do that, what you do is you go to My Modes, you put it on Sport mode, and just as any launch control would work, what you do is you put left foot on the brake, right foot over here, launch control active, off you go. Wonderful acceleration, and before you know it, you're at 100 kilometers. The way it accelerates really reminds me of how a Rolls-Royce accelerates. It kind of goes up, you know, the nose kind of lifts, and then off you go. I guess this is one of the best cars I've ever driven. In terms of tech, it's the next thing in tech. But it's usually the case. Usually the Germans are the ones, especially these ones, you know, the S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, the Audi A8 or S8, whatever it might be. These are the pinnacle of technology. They pretty much define what technology is going to look like in all the rest of the industry for the upcoming decade. So stuff that you have here will trickle down into your Toyota Corolla in 10 years. You know, of course, Corollas have great technology, but these guys are the leaders in it. So in terms of tech, it's fantastic. It's the future. In terms of ride quality, it's quiet, it's smooth. Despite the near 3-ton weight, it's balanced. The leather is wonderful. The ride quality is great. The back seats are amazing. You have a cinema system in it. You have augmented reality. You know, the list just goes on and on and on. And just, I simply adore this car. Its technology, its ride quality, its luxury. It is by far one of my favorite cars that I've ever driven. And, you know, I say this only for the cars that I really, really like, but hats off to BMW for such an amazing piece of machinery.